Welcome to overloading constructors. Now in previous videos I talked about what a constructor is and then demonstrated with some code examples using the constructor with the cat class here. And in this video I want to go a little bit farther, and that is overloading constructors. Now this is where the real power and design aspects really start to show themselves with object-oriented programming. Now if you'll remember, in the video entitled Using a Constructor, we used just a basic constructor for the cat class, and I first did just a default constructor, and then I gave it one parameter, and then we could pass it an argument and always name it. Well, let's do a different idea here, and let me put you some notes in here. Now keep in mind, let me point out something. I'm going to use the same example project here. So when you look up constructor example in your work files folder, you're going to see the whole thing, all right? But anyway, first of all, this is a constructor, all right? Now let's jump down here and let's apply the concept of overloading to this constructor, all right? Because I can create cat again, right? And this time I can do overloading. And if you remember, overloading means a different signature. Okay, so I can do int age, all right, int weight, and then the string name. And now I will set some of the various things. Age equal age, weight equals weight, or in other words whatever they're passing in when they call this, right? Notice age right here that they pass in is going to be placed in age, which is the variable in my class, all right? And then of course name inside here is going to be equal to, and I'm going to go change that to keep from absolutely totally confusing the whole world, is equal to nm, all right? And so I can now overload this, all right? And so now, based on how I call this particular class, it's going to determine which one of these gets used. Okay, so now notice I can still call cat, right, and create an object called C1, or instantiate an object called C1 and pass spot in, and that will work because that's going to see, oh wait a minute, dude's only passing one parameter, all right, and it's a string, and so I've got a constructor with that signature, so I will construct cat using that one thing. Now notice here's age, weight, and string. And so let's go out here and create another instantiation of cat, and we'll call this C2. And this time, notice we now see that there are three. Notice there's our default. There's the one with string, and now here's the one with age, weight, and string. Now notice this is cool. IntelliSense picks this up. I didn't actually have to code this. Looks like I was up all night wiring this stuff up. And so we'll say that the age of this cat is 4. The cat weighs 6 pounds. I don't know if that's heavy or light for a cat, but anyway, and this cat is our beloved Fluffy that we keep talking so much about here. All right, and so I call that, and now I'm going to copy this, all right, and use it so that you don't have to watch me struggle with typing and talking. And we'll just mention here that C2 name is going to be Fluffy that we pass in, right, and then C2 dot mage, we'll put that there, and let's do this. Your example might be a little different from this, but it'll be the same basic thing. And then let's put Fluffy's weight, okay, and we'll put let's see, WEIGHT. The hardest part of my job here is typing and talking at the same time, okay? And we'll call weight And this should do it for us. All right. And so now let's compile this up, and you'll notice that we're going to create two separate objects, but each separate object is going to use a different constructor, and that is not what we want. I need to go out here, go into Documents, go into Visual Studio 2010, into Projects, into Constructor. Notice I'm right clicking on Debug because that's where my actual executable file was created. And now let's just call Constructor Example. And notice I've got two things. We've got C1, the name is Spot. C2, the name is Fluffy. The age is 4. The weight is 6. All right. And I've got some pretty hideous formatting issues here. And so let me create a little bit cleaner output here. Now, I hope you get the idea of what you can do with constructors now, because we can overload constructors as many different ways as we can come up with different signatures on these things. Okay, and so really based on what you pass in, you can provide different functionality in your code. Now all this happens when the object is instantiated, and so it saves you the extra step of having to go in and set all that junk. Okay, junk being a Southern technical term for other state data. All right, so anyway, that's just a good simple example of constructor overloading. Stick that in your coder's toolkit, if you will, and use that. It will really help you with structure and design of your programs in C++.